Hey everyone, I'm Lavanya Aneja and you're listening to the Boss Brown Women channel, a platform for and about inspiring women and the heartbreaks, lessons, and triumphs they experience on their journeys to success. Anyone who's ever had a pet can testify to the pure, unadulterated joy they bring to our lives. We share a bond with our pets that's unlike any other. One such bond gave rise to the now iconic brand, Heads Up for Tails. Frustrated at the lack of options and transparency in the pet care industry in the country, Rashi Narang set out to start a company that would provide the very best for our special furry friends. Today, we talked to her about her journey and how she converted her passion into a massively successful business. Welcome, Rashi.
Thank you, Lavanya. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Same. I have actually explained this to you, but I'm so excited to interview you because with our last meeting at the TAG Global Summit, I just found your story to be absolutely inspiring and I can't wait to share it with everyone else.
Thank you.
Perfect. So to get started, I just wanted to ask you, did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or was there ever this aha moment for you?
I think I always did know. I was very entrepreneurial even when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. So even at 5 and 6 and 10, I would make cards and go sell them in the colony. And I'd go from room to room in our big joint family home and say, okay, these are the services I offer. I can give you a manicure for 10 rupees and a pedicure for 20 and a head massage for 30. So I do have entrepreneurship in my blood.
Truly. Yeah, the literal crux of it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That is so exciting. So you always knew that you wanted to start your own business.
Yes.
Just wasn't sure exactly which industry you wanted to go into, but always knew that you had to be a businesswoman.
Yeah. I think I lost sight of that a little bit when I went to college and everybody was applying for jobs and just the prospect of being able to get a job is so exciting. So I started that too. I did lots of applications, got accepted, was super excited. And then once I got into corporate, I was like, okay, something's missing.
Yeah.
I can't quite make the difference that I envisioned I would in a big organization which has 20,000 people.
True.
And, I feel not that, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. And so then I came back to really, thinking of the fact that yes, I always wanted to do something of my own and what would it finally be.
Was it hard to make that decision to walk away from arguably a really well-paying job and a well-settled life to just venture out on your own?
It wasn't actually, because when the opportunity came up, I was like, that's it,
So just easy.
Yeah, it was easy.
That is so exciting. I love that because I have been at those crossroads and I feel a lot of people nowadays are. It's just the competition and it can get a lot into the crowd mentality where it's hard to chart your own path. So kudos to you for doing that. I love it. So tell me a little bit about how the idea of Heads Up for Tails came to you.
We were living overseas and we moved back to India, and I was newly married and I wanted to get home a puppy. And I've grown up with dogs ever since I've opened my eyes. We've as a family had dogs, but my husband's family hadn't, and when I got Sarah home, she was solely my responsibility versus being a family dog. And so I started sort of taking a very keen interest in what is she eating and what am I giving her, what products am I using, whether it's a toy or a treat or anything, even a simple collar and leash and a bed. And I started going to all the pet stores across India and just trying to look for decent merchandise. I couldn't find anything. I remember on her first birthday, I went to 6 pet stores in Delhi and I came back with nothing. Not even one little present that I could give her, because the toys just looked so dirty. Treats were all strange, languages that I couldn't read, ingredients that I wasn't familiar with. I mean, there was absolutely nothing of quality that I could buy, and so I just that's when I thought that there may be other people like myself who would want to buy good stuff for their furry family members. And I just rolled up my sleeves and started out.
Wow. So you just knew there had to be more people like you and there had to be better quality stuff that you could provide to people who are just part of your family.
Sure, absolutely.
That's super exciting. But I know that you had a bit of a rough start when you initially started Heads Up for Tails, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the thing is that the industry didn't exist. The market was completely unaware. Nobody had even ventured ventured out to, I mean, it was so ground level. There wasn't even anyone who was doing one level above.
Yeah.
And we obviously wanted to do something. I mean, when I started making these products, I was excited. Sarah loved them. I gave them to friends. They seemed to like it. They said, okay, our dogs really love this. And I said, okay, let me take this to market. And I took it to market, and I took it to every pet store that I could find, and everyone slammed their door shut. And they said, this is not going to work. I mean, who are you? Why are you here? I wasn't part of the small industry that it was, and I think that rejection, even though at that time was so disheartening, it kind of led me to make my own path. And I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to try this anyway. And if that hadn't happened that way, maybe it would have been a very different story. But then I started taking part in small pop-up exhibitions, and over there the customers told me a completely different story.
Really?
So they were excited. They were like, oh my god, is this for children or is it for dogs? I've never seen this before. There was just so much excitement, and that was so encouraging, as a small homegrown entrepreneur to feel like, oh my god, like there are people at my stall and I'm making a bill and I'm making another bill. It was just such a sweet, nice feeling.
Yeah, the people want this.
Yeah. And so I think, that was a really important lesson, that like stay close to your customers. I mean, clearly all of these people who were operating these stores did not understand their customers, and the market wasn't asking for it either, because they just didn't have the exposure. But it was definitely a very rough start, but it's grown from there.
Truly, because like I said before, you were like revolutionizing an industry, because I know I've had this experience. You go to those little pet stores, they're always in dingy little basements, usually not very clean, and have a lot of imported stuff that may not always be familiar, or you may not be able to trust the quality of. And you were trying to go into more of a premium segment where people could truly know what they were feeding or having their pets play with.
Yeah. I just wanted to do something which was functional, but which had design at its core, and just build something that connects people better with their pets.
That's so exciting.
As simple as that.
Tell me a little bit about your move from just the pop-up stores that you were having in different locations to actually starting maybe your first e-commerce venture or your first retail store.
Sure. So we started off as an online store back in 2008. Obviously, I couldn't afford, retail, and we were like really one of the earliest internet companies in India. Sort of launched in the same year as Flipkart. Of course, it's different where they've gone, and we're still like babying around, but still.
I would hardly call it babying around.
No, but still, I mean, but you know what? I didn't know anything about anything, Lavanya. I mean, suddenly I was this 23-year-old trying to understand, products, retail, marketing, e-commerce, logistics, warehousing, a gazillion things, compliances, finance. And I remember that whole journey being so overwhelming, and the learning curve being so steep. Also did not have the team, the money, the experience, no expertise to bring to the table. There was only like this passion and lots of love. And the other day a relative was telling me that she found an old scrapbook of her daughter's, where even then when I was 7 or 8, I've written that I want to start something to do with animals. So that just made me happy. But yeah, that was really the only thing that I had. And so we started off the e-commerce thing, but we'd get like 4 orders a month, and we were jumping in joy. I was so excited.
Someone else would have taken it. I honestly love that spirit, because other people would be like, oh my god, why am I doing this? But you're just like, you know what? This is good. It's
I was so excited that somebody who does, I don't know this person, has shopped from some remote part of the country and has bought a product on my website. I mean, that is so cool. And then I remember, Select City Walk was fairly new at that time too, and I went and asked the management, and I said, listen, can I please get a 2-day contract just over the weekend? And they were like, are you serious? 2 days? I mean, we're a mall, and we don't do 2-day contracts. But anyways, they kindly agreed to a 2-day contract, and it's a big joke that I never left, and it's been 12 years now.
Really?
So,
that's a heartwarming story.
So that was special, and I think that really helped us find a home, at least to cater to the Delhi audience. And we built it up from there, and then a year after we started that, my husband was posted over to Singapore, so obviously I went along. And those 7 years away were very hard because there was no defined timeline. It was great from a personal point of view, but from a professional point of view, I was like, okay, I have this little baby. But honestly, every day since then, and I don't really know how to explain this, but I have woken up with like fire in my belly, fire, like real fire, to be like, okay, what am I going to do now? How am I going to build this? Because during that journey, I think I found such deep purpose, and the passion really grew, that understanding of how special this space is, and the animals that we're trying to sort of help in some ways, what a privilege it is to share our life with them. So it's been amazing.
It's been amazing.
Very challenging, but really amazing.
Yeah, considering that you were in Singapore for 7 years and operating a business in India, and still every day you woke up wanting to continue working on it, and you didn't give up.
Absolutely.
I guess the choice to leave corporate world and pursue your own business was definitely right.
I hope so, yeah.
No, I'm really glad that it was. So just to segue from there, were there any points in your entrepreneurial journey where you felt like you felt a little sexism in the industry, or you felt like you were receiving more backlash owing to maybe your gender?
Well, yes, there were no women in the industry at all. Like, there was absolutely no one that I could find. It was just, lots of men, and they were like, what is this young woman? What is she talking about? She doesn't know anything. What is she trying to do? So there was a lot of resistance. Even when I went to vendors, I remember, they were all like a little, uncomfortable. They were like, first of all, we're not going to make dog merchandise. like
beneath us.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that more than sexism, it's also a little bit to do with time, age in general. Now I approach things in slightly differently. I've been doing this, I understand it much more. So I think it's a combination. I wouldn't necessarily call it only sexism, but I think it's so much. It just kind of gets muddled up with so many things.
It's just an inability to change, or unwillingness to change something that's already set up.
Exactly.
Because it's working.
Exactly.
So why broke if it ain't?
Absolutely.
Why fix it?
Absolutely.
Mixed up my metaphor there. But yeah, that's really great. And now you've grown heads up or tails like remarkably. You have over 20 stores nationwide, and one of your biggest ones in Bangalore that you were recently telling me about. So how's that journey been, like taking it to other cities and testing it out on the audiences that maybe you weren't as familiar with?
Sure. Well, so I moved back in 2016, and out of those 200 pet stores that had said no, there was only one which said yes.
Really?
And that was a pet store called Paws in Bangalore, and we started retailing our merchandise with them, and we became friends all through all those years. And when I moved back in 2016, we decided to merge the companies, even though we had a tiny store and they had a tiny store, but we still decided, okay, let's just become one.
Tiny thing.
Exactly. So Ridhima and Sandeep came on as co-founders, and really, just moving away from a very lonely journey to having, close friends that you can trust and build something together with was amazing.
I don't doubt it.
And so that's when we started out, the expansion. We raised funds when we got back, and then, we started working with Delhi and Bangalore. We moved to Pune then, and then we also realized the massive challenges of running stores in cities where we don't have presence, and the sense that you leave everything to staff, and that may or may not go very well. People change, they leave jobs, they switch jobs, and that was a huge challenge. So we decided that outside of Delhi and Bangalore, we're going to work on franchise. Of course, we've been super picky about the kind of franchise partners also. It really has to be a value match more than anything else.
Truly.
And so we found some great people for Bombay, for Hyderabad, for Chennai, for Pune.
Wow.
So those cities have been expanding through that, and Delhi and Bangalore also. Delhi, we're opening our 11th store next month. Bangalore, we're at 8. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So exciting.
So it's been amazing. There's been lots of ups and downs. It's been challenging because we've really had to work on building that market, which still is not quite big enough. I mean, we still have to educate people on what does this family member need. They're different from the rest of the family, and what do they need to be happy, and how do they need to be fed and exercised and mentally stimulated, and what do they really want from us. And we want to really spread that magic into people's lives, because we know and we've seen that when you share your life with an animal, you become the best version of yourself. You become kind and empathetic and open, and your heart opens up, and then you're just compassionate, and you just really do become a better version of yourself. And if we can do that, that tiny little humble attempt, that more people become that, can you imagine how the world would be?
much better.
Exactly.
Therapy dogs for everyone.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Exactly.
I love that. That's what really excited me about you and your company, is just the mission is so clear and so pure. It's just a genuine love for animals and wanting people to experience the same, because you've seen how it's affected your life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, no judgments. I mean, where can you find love with no judgment?
Honestly, no.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe parents, but even that comes with a little bit of an asterisk.
It comes with expectations. Here
Truly.
doesn't matter. It's just amazing what they give us, and I feel that they deserve so much back from us.
Definitely. And you're helping people get one step closer to being able to give back.
Yes, I mean, that's what we hope. We want to be able to break those connects. So if somebody comes into my store and says, can I have a choke collar? I'll say, first of all, we don't keep choke collars. But second of all, why do you even need one? And then they may say, okay, my dog is destructive and he pulls a lot on the leash. So if I can help him understand how do you walk your dog correctly on the leash, you don't really need a choke collar, or you don't really need, I mean, you just need to understand them. They have such a distinct body language, and if more people can learn to read it and communicate better, I mean, it's a bond that you absolutely cannot replicate in the human world.
You cannot. So in addition to just an entrepreneurial project, this is more of a educational process for you as well.
It is. Yeah, we've built a lot of content. We've been working hard on bringing lots of experts. Even on the team itself, we have a grooming expert, a nutrition expert, a training expert. We're trying to get that out, and then we also we formally set up the foundation earlier this year, even though we've been doing stuff ever since we started out, but that's very close to our hearts, because it's really about reducing the man-animal conflict in the urban spaces, and the dogs are the most affected by that, unfortunately, and just making people more aware and trying to promote the indies. I mean, they're at the end of the day our own breed, and all we're saying is that they shouldn't have preferential treatment necessarily, but they should just be on the same level as any other breed. They don't have to be below them. It should be the same. If you're making a decision to bring a dog home, if it is suitable for you, why not adopt? And that's all we want, that it should be the level playing field. They should be on the same playing field. So we're trying to work on that. Vaccination drives, anti-rabies drives, and sterilization, adoptions, lots of fun stuff.
I love that, because I know there's a dire need for it in our city.
Yeah, there is.
Because even recently, my brother and I, we were looking to adopt a dog, because we we're trying to start the process with our family. But I feel like there aren't enough resources out there.
Yeah.
Right? To be able to, I know there's companies like Friendicos and stuff, but it feels a little incomplete, because there's almost a touch point missing.
Absolutely.
So I love that you're actually taking initiative. Is adoption currently an adoption service something that you're looking to expand into?
We not as yet, but what we do is that we regularly have an adoption camp, whether it's even as small as 2 dogs, like we do at our Khan Market store every single week. So Friendicos will bring 2 doggies there, and dogs that have some who have a great chance of adoption, some who don't but still love human beings and want a chance to interact with them. I mean, we're just trying to run these. We just did a kitten adoption camp in Bangalore. It was so sweet, we had 15 kittens and 14 of them got adopted. It was so nice. It just feels nice. But obviously, we're careful. Who are we giving them to? Vetting the families. So we do it in partnership with other NGOs who can do things like house checks and make sure that, these are going into responsible homes and not like a spur of the moment decision that, oh, this is so cute and I'm going to take this home as a present.
Yeah. You know, end right back on the street.
Exactly. So we're fairly mindful of that and, trying to do it right, I hope.
I love
or at least trying.
You are. I can see like the passion in you just for animals and pets. It's palpable.
Thank you.
It definitely is. So I know that you're doing everything with a very staunch sense of responsibility. And almost like, that this is something that you have to do.
Yes.
Which is always someone that you would want to put your trust in. Like, I can definitely think about that. So tell me maybe you've had such a long journey like now with Heads Up for Tails. So have there ever been any points where you just thought that you hit a particular low where you weren't sure if you want to keep going? Or and maybe how you got through that?
Oh my God, so many times. I mean, there have been weeks and months, pretty much years when I was in a black tunnel and I could not see any light at the end of the tunnel. I just couldn't, it was so hard. There was absolutely nothing in our favor, not even one thing. No market, no money, no team, no expertise. There was nothing in our favor. So it was really being in a well with no way of coming out and just being like, but there was just this very, very strong sense of, purpose. I don't know if you want to call it that, or just, I just couldn't give up. I couldn't get myself to give up no matter how bad the day was. Even now, we have so many good days, but we have so many tough decisions. It's really hard to run a business in India. Really, really hard. And every day I feel like I'm just firefighting. But, that thought that, can I just shut this down and do something else? It does not even quite cross my mind. No.
Wow.
No,
tell me your secret.
No, listen,
My God.
There isn't.
I gotta know.
There isn't, of course.
So I guess just finding something that you feel that passionately about.
Yeah.
Because you can't contemplate not doing that.
Yeah.
That is so special. I'm so glad you found that. Now I'm looking for it as well.
Yay.
So that's really cool. And I know you spoke earlier about taking on merging with Paws in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So before that you were just doing Heads Up for Tails, running the whole organization almost all by yourself.
Yes, I was, yeah. But so it was lovely to have Ridhima and Sandeep join, and then 2 years ago my brother joined as well, and then last year my husband joined as well, and now I feel really nice and strong.
Supportive.
I feel it's so fun to build this together, with friends and family, and at the same time each of them is a thorough professional, so they all bring something very, very solid to the table. It's not like it's random, it's very sort of thought through. So it's a really good, strong team.
So would you recommend for new entrepreneurs maybe going on their entrepreneurial journey to seek out maybe co-founders, because it looks like it helped you feel stronger and have a better support system. So is that something that you would recommend?
I would. I definitely would. When it's a hard, lonely journey to be on your own. And while it's great to experience it, so I wouldn't say that don't start because you can't find the co-founder. Definitely start, but if should the opportunity come where you feel like you're really on the same page with someone else and they could make a valuable difference by coming on board as a co-founder, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Truly, why not?
Yeah.
I love that. So you've built this beautiful, inspiring company from the ground up, really, by the grit of your teeth. So now that you are at this position where you have the ability to sort of affect change through your own decision making and running even the company, what are some steps that you take to ensure that there's diversity and representation even on your payroll?
We have, honestly, we don't necessarily sit and think about diversity, on paper. For me, it's just important to be able to be in a space where anyone walking through the doors of the office should and can change their mindset. And we have so many men and women who walked in petrified in area, and they weren't necessarily required to be pet lovers to understand the front end of the business. They could be warehousing staff, they could be accounts teams, and inventory teams and logistic teams. But what's the fun part is that the passion of the rest of us kind of just it rubs off on them, And I've seen so many people transform. I mean, like, all the guards at all the stores and all the warehouses will keep out bowls of food and water themselves. The drivers will stop to feed dogs. The retail staff is like, we really hadn't had this interaction. We were scared, or we never thought about it. But now, they take home bags of food. They'll feed all the streeties around them. They made so many new friends in every market. So, that's just so special. And for me, I love the diversity, because it's important that people from different cultures, backgrounds, thought processes come together regardless of gender. And of course, we have a great mix of both men and women. There's lots of women, and I mean, you need that mix, to be able to function like a nice melting pot of everything dumped in. And it's great for that to happen. And then hope that we can create an army of, at least start with creating an army right here of people who are going to inspire that change when they walk out of those doors.
So it's just like that network effect of people who are just so passionate and loving towards animals, inspiring other people, or influencing other people to be the same.
Absolutely.
I love that.
And when you get a glimpse into what that does, I think you just want to, you just want to be on that side.
I love that. Yeah, because when you see just how good it can be, the experience, how it can feel, because it's even like scientifically proven. That's why like therapy dogs and so many such like emotional support animals exist, because it just has that effect on you.
It does.
So influencing people to be open to receiving something like that.
Yeah,
I think that's such a noble mission.
No, it's lovely. I mean, we have dogs in the office, and so many people are like, you have dogs in the office. But then after a few days, they are like the ones who are playing ball, and that just makes my day, because I'm just like, you were so scared. Look at you now, and
exactly.
And they ask me, when is Poppins coming, and when is Leo coming, when is this one coming? It's just so sweet.
And you're just like, now wants the dog friendly office.
Exactly. So it's
because
really
it can. It's I, as a person who has worked in a pet friendly office, it's the most relaxing thing. If you're having a stressful day, just having someone to get your mind off of something. It's so good. I think every office should have like a therapy dog.
Oh my god, we keep saying that, imagine if every office in Delhi could adopt one indie dog. They would be off the streets. The whole problem would be solved. And you collectively care for one dog.
Honestly, side hustle. Let's do this. Just connect. Yeah, that would be so special.
It would be,
for the employees, for the company, for the animals, for everyone.
Exactly. Just one dog every office.
Something to consider. If someone's looking for an idea to start a company, this is it.
There you go.
I love it. So this is another question that I love asking people who I'm interviewing, is just, who are like the 3 people who've been the most influential on you on your journey, and like 3 most important lessons that they've taught you?
Oh my god. I'd like to say the first one would be my husband, Samarth. He comes from a finance field, and he's had a lot of exposure to how companies have grown. And I always honestly thought of this as a tiny passion grown business, but he always, even when it was that tiny, he was always like, we're going to make this so big one day. It's really like the wind beneath my wings kind of thing. And he always was encouraging, even though I was like super obsessive about such small things now in context. It was such a big deal for me. He never sort of belittled that or said, what are you doing? It was okay for him that was really important to me. And I think he really kind of gave me a glimpse into how big I could actually grow this. And I wouldn't have maybe thought of it on my own. So yeah, he's been very, very inspiring.
Really the vision.
And yeah. And then
oh my god, yes, this I know.
She's taught me all the important lessons that I have ever learned, whether it has been with relationships, with work. I mean, she's like, listen lady, don't give up. She shows me that if somebody has a biscuit in their hand, she will not move. And she's like, till you don't give me that biscuit, I'm not leaving. So that she's taught me persistence to a whole different level.
Love it.
She said, listen, keep your eyes on that ball, don't let it drop. Exactly. And a gazillion other things, I mean, she's been my biggest inspiration. And the third, for me, honestly, it's been my team, the people who have come on board, the little things that they've sort of left on the table, whether they were here for their journey for long or short, but we wouldn't have been able to build this without each and every one of them who has played a significant part. So and I think that the team has taught me about really being open to embracing different thoughts which may be different from mine, challenging myself. It's taught me about leadership, which I found very hard initially, to be able to give critical feedback and to be able to lead and inspire people, and they're the ones who really pushed me into corners. At that time I was like, oh my god, this is the hardest part of building a company, it's just the people. But now I cannot say thank you enough, because that is just how you grow. You can't grow unless you learn that. And I've still been able to do it wearing my heart on my sleeve, and that's I hope that I can retain that, and they have let me retain that. I don't come into office with armor like I'm going into a battlefield. And it's very authentic, it's very real, and it's very honest. And so yeah, these are the three.
You're the captain of the ship, leading with love.
I don't know about that. I mean, like, I need lots of support every now and then,
of course.
But yeah, I mean, we're trying, because that's what we stand for, otherwise what's the point?
Yeah. Truly, if like you're not keeping in line with your mission, then like you said, what's the point? Yeah, actually, on that, like, what would you say your leadership style is like, or has developed to be, now that you've grown as a company, such a big corporation?
You know what, I really struggled to find it, and like from whatever I had read and from whatever I saw, it was always about leaders being a particular way, and I'm completely the opposite of all of what I was reading. And I've learned the hard way. I'm very soft, I'm very shy, I'm introverted, I'm all of those things that do not go with a typical type A leader at all. But you know what, I at some point I was like, okay, maybe I need to try to be different, and then very quickly I realized that I just need to be myself. And sometimes you have people who lead from the front, and sometimes you have leaders who lead from the back, like shepherds, making sure everything is within the boundaries. And I think that I'm a little bit of both, depending on the situation. I prefer to lead from the back though. Just because
just as important though, honestly, not glorified enough, but
I know, but it's taken a while for me to know and realize. It's just you self-doubt yourself so much during the way, but I've come to the conclusion that it's all about just being authentic. You want to have a conversation, it can be a very hard conversation, but have a real conversation. Put it out there for what it is. And yeah, we've had I've had to fire so many people, I've made hiring mistakes, I've made so many mistakes, but I think it's about taking ownership, and it's just about just being honest. I mean, we're human at the end of the day, we do make mistakes. And yeah, we just that's my leadership style. It's just I just try to be as authentic as possible. That's
leading with authenticity.
That's it, nothing more.
And I truly believe that your team can sense that. A leader that is authentic and one that is not.
I hope so.
I truly believe so. And like whatever little working experience that even I've had two completely different kind of bosses where you can tell when someone cares and when someone doesn't.
Sure.
And when they care, it's just the team is built with a different kind of fiber in their being. So I can tell that this is a very tightly knit team thanks to your leadership style.
No, I don't know about that, but still, we're having fun, and you know what, we're learning every day. And
that's what life's about.
Yeah, it is. And when you set certain goals, and then you get there and you're like, okay, now it's not this anymore, you need to do something more. And so it's the same with leadership. I mean, like, I try to read a lot, and I try to take the best. I mean, you can't just take what somebody else is saying, but you just try to see what resonates with you, and you just try basically.
Just keep what sticks. What's compatible with who you are as a human being. I truly so I love that. That's your leadership style, that you've modified your basic traits to adopt into being the kind of leader that you want to be. That's great. So to wrap it up, I would love to ask you this one last question that I love asking all of my interviewees. Is that if you could go back in time and just give some advice to an 18-year-old Rashi, what would you want to say to her?
Oh, live it up.
Live it
Have
up.
fun. I feel like we've all become so, we're all trying to do a gazillion things. We take life so seriously. But honestly, it's just a journey. It's supposed to be amazing.
Truly.
We kind of forget that, and we think that it's supposed to be hard.
Exactly.
I'm having fun. I sometimes overwork myself. Mostly overwork myself. So yeah, I want to go back and tell myself, it's okay. Just have fun. It's all right. Obviously, I see a very different 18-year-olds now to when I was 18 years old. I was not so confident. I was, kind of just exploring and having fun. People now just know their minds at 5. I love that. I'm just like, how are you so confident?
It took 20 years to get there. Can you tell me how you fast-tracked this process?
No, I'd just say, I was telling my team and all the new joiners today, I was like, let's just try to be a little bit more human, feel more and do more, not in terms of filling up your not in terms of being busy more, but just respond more. We kind of shut down so many senses. I feel like we're just not being human enough. Just consciously be more. Be more. That's all.
Yeah, because I generally feel like sometimes people over glorify, just having that kind of tunnel vision and not experiencing much or not feeling or expressing as much.
Exactly.
Like I know I felt that growing up, especially in our society as a woman, was
Absolutely.
just be all don't emote too much.
Exactly.
Or something. It's just why?
Yeah.
If you feel a lot of things, it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
So I love that. Live it up a little more and feel and express more.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rashi. Honestly, every time I come into a room with you, I just feel happy. I know you said this to
And
me
vice
last time.
versa.
Exactly. I hope that people can get the energy and the passion you bring to your work, because I think that's at the core of what is driving Heads Up for Tails right now.
Thank you.
I absolutely am in love with your business and with you and your leadership style.
So sweet. Thank you, Lavanya. It's been amazing having you. I know that you're talking about all of us other women, but there's so much to be said for you and the work that you're doing, and all the positivity and the energy that you bring. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you for giving me the time and this beautiful office, by the way, filled with plants, which I absolutely love.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you. And if anyone has more questions for Rashi, I think we can connect with you over LinkedIn. And,
Sure.
And yeah, please to continue the conversation and get inspired and do more. That's the lesson for today.
Yes.
Do and be more. That's it. That was our show. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you got something really positive out of that episode. I know that I love speaking to these boss brown women, as I like to call them, and I walk away from each episode recording feeling motivated and inspired to pursue my dreams. So I really hope that that's the exact takeaway that you get from today's episode. If you have any other questions for our guests, or if you have someone in mind that you'd like for us to feature on the show, please let me know in the comments down below, or you can email me at lavanya@bossbrownwomen.com. Well, if you really like what you saw from the show and want to hear from us more, please hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell icon right next to it to get a notification each time we upload a new video. Well, that's it for today. See you again next time.